What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex. You watching the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series. We're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of movies. Before we begin with the news, I gotta give a big shout out to Ragin Nation follower Kalak Ho, and Kalak sent me a Twitter message asking me, "Hey Alex, what do you think of my first posters I ever made for Pacific Rim? 2 styles, minimal and super Japanese. Check it out. We got a Pacific Rim to fight monsters, we created monsters." And that's the minimal poster. And then we have the Japanese poster with Gypsy Danger in the front and a Godzilla in the background, Empire State Building, and a bunch of kanji, you know, the Chinese characters used in Japanese text. Very, very cool. I'm going to go with the Japanese version. I really, really like it with the kanji there and also the Godzilla in the background. Very, very nice. Very talented work. And also, I want to share with you guys that Kalak Ho has a YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel where he makes comedy sketches and short films. Check it out. YouTube.com/thekbtv Untest Films Project. I've checked them out. They're pretty funny, and you're going to want to check them out, especially if you enjoy that sort of thing. Show some support. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some shooting schedules. Now, there's a lot of productions shooting all the time, but specifically, I got some schedules for you guys for films that are being worked on this year, which will be ready for next year, and that would be Fantastic Four. The reboot is being shot at Baton Rouge in March 31st, so very soon from now. Terminator Genesis will be filming on April 21st in New Orleans, and finally Jurassic World, that would be Jurassic Park 4, will start filming in Louisiana on June 2nd. So if you are in any of those areas and you are fans of any of those films and you want to check out the filming, mark down your calendar for those dates because you might want to see what's going on over there in the filming. Now, moving on, let's talk about Quentin Tarantino's next film. In a previous video, I had mentioned that Quentin Tarantino's next film was a film called Killer Crow, where these African-American U.S. military soldiers just go completely berserk on on the white soldiers that treated them poorly. Alright, that's what it's about. But turns out he's not making that film anymore. Or at least he's putting it on hold for now because he wants to work on a Western, and that Western would be called The Hateful Eight. Now, The Hateful Eight to me sounds kind of like Inglourious Bastards because it sounds like it's a team of these you know, these gunslingers, and they're either seeking revenge or they're out there to kill bad guys. But either way, you know it's going to be very violent, and it's going to contain a lot of very witty dialogue because we're talking about Quentin Tarantino here. Now, he probably had a lot of fun working on Django Unchained, that he wanted to just move up the era a little bit, you know, like further up into time and work on a Western. Now, that's really exciting to me. I like that he wants to work on another period piece. And what's really exciting is also the fact that he wants to cast Bruce Dern and Christoph Waltz as some of the main characters. I like Christoph Waltz. I've seen him in a couple of movies, not just Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained, but when I've seen him in other movies, he's not quite at his strong point. I think that Tarantino brings the best out of Christoph Waltz. He gives him the best direction, and with the great dialogue that he writes for him, he comes up with some a very strong performance. So I'm excited about seeing Christoph Waltz work with Tarantino again, and that's something to look forward to. There's no release date on The Hateful Eight. All that's being known right now is that it's just been announced as his next film. All right, let's talk about some remakes and reboots in remake news. Point Break, the cop thriller directed by Catherine Bigelow. That would be you know, James Cameron's ex-wife who directed Zero Dark 30. That movie is being remade. Originally it starred Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze, where Keanu Reeves is an undercover cop trying to infiltrate these surfing and skydiving bank robbers. Well, it's going to be remade. There is a director attached. His name is Eric Sinclair, and he directed The Invincible. Never seen that movie before, But they do already have someone who's going to be playing Bodhi. Bodhi is the character that Patrick Swayze played, and that would be Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler, who was in Olympus Has Fallen and also played King Leonidas in 300. He's going to be playing the Bodhi character, which I can totally see. I think that would be a pretty good match. So far, they don't have Johnny Utah casted. Johnny Utah is the character that Keanu Reeves played, but that's happening. And that's something to look forward to if you're a fan of Point Break, or it's not something to look forward to if you are a fan of Point Break and you're sick of remakes. But anyways, that's a remake I don't mind seeing. Should be pretty exciting. Now, it doesn't revolve around just surfing and skydiving, but extreme sports in general, which is a lot of different activities. So that's something that's going to be pretty exciting. Speaking of another remake, let's talk about Robocop. Now, Robocop is in the can. What that means is that the movie is done. All they're doing is marketing the movie right now with all the different trailers and TV spots and viral marketing. But what I saw recently is some really cool photos. Actually, just one photo and a poster. Check out this photo right here. You see Robocop from the waist up, and he looks cool. This is supposedly what they're calling the Robocop 3.0 suit, and it's very different from the original one, which had what's the guy's name? Peter Weller. Peter Weller wear is very different. Definitely more complex, right? But what I really like about it is the fact that it still retains that look, but a more sleek and more intricate version of itself. Alright, they're updating it for the times. And then check out this poster here. It's a Chinese poster, and it says that it's being presented in 2D, 3D, and IMAX. Well, North America didn't get a 3D release. They're just getting a 2D and IMAX, but it looks like the 3D exclusive showing will be only for China. That's very interesting to me, but I'm still not that surprised because apparently if you want your film to be marketed and shown in China, it needs to be in 3D because apparently the Chinese love the 3D format. I don't know why, but apparently they're really big on it. So there you have it. The Robocop remake is being shown, or rather presented, in 3D in China. Moving on, finally, let's talk about another remake slash reboot, and that would be a reboot or remake that I never want to see rebooted, and that would be The Naked Gun. Is nothing sacred? Are they seriously making The Naked Gun? Apparently they are, and that is complete blasphemy. They're getting Ed Helms from The Hangover to play Lieutenant Frank Drebin, and the blasphemy is not the fact that they're getting Ed Helms to play Frank Drebin. The blasphemy is that they're having it being remade at all. They should not even touch that franchise. They should leave it alone. Leave it as a trilogy. Let Leslie Nielsen rest in peace. Alright, this guy's the funniest man that worked in the film industry. You know, he's a great comedian, and I don't think they should ever touch this. Just because, you know, one thing that is great about The Naked Gun is the style of the humor. You can't recreate that anymore. Alright, the humor today is just not very clever. It's not very smart. It's not witty. It's very, what I like to call low-level humor, and that is all just nothing but sexual innuendo jokes, and that just gets very, very boring quickly because you can only just take so much of that before, you know, you just feel like, okay, this is so gimmicky. But the humor in the original Naked Gun was very, very smart, and it was well written, and you can't replace Leslie Nielsen. So, but that's happening. I just want to mention that to you guys. It really makes me upset that they're doing that, but this is Hollywood, you know, it's big business, alright? So moving on, let's talk about a little bit of superhero news, and let's talk about AntMan. AntMan is coming out in 2015, directed by Edgar Wright. Now, they had already cast Paul Rudd to play AntMan, and now they recently just played Michael Douglas to also play Ant-Man. If you don't already know, Ant-Man had 3 different alter egos. You had Hank Pym, Scott Lang, and Eric O'Grady. Now, Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, and Scott Lang was was a thief who actually infiltrated his lab, Hank Pym's lab, and then he used the Ant-Man technology for his own personal use, right, for his own benefit. And there's Eric O'Grady, who put on the Ant-Man suit, and he's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, Paul Rudd will be playing Scott Lang character, and Michael Douglas will be playing Hank Pym. So something tells me that Michael Douglas is going to be like kind of a mentor character to Scott Lang, and then Paul Rudd is essentially the main character, but Michael Douglas will be, Paul Rudd will be playing the predecessor, or rather the protege to Michael Douglas's Hank Pym. All right, maybe Michael Douglas is actually going to get killed in the film. I'm just speculating on that, but it's possible. And then Paul Rudd has to take on his role as Ant-Man, who can control ants, and with the suit, he can grow to the small size and the big size. All right, so there you have it. Finally, to end off this episode, let's talk about Star Wars Episode 7. As you already know, J.J. Abrams will be directing for a November 2015 release, and looks like they reworked a new script to have Luke, Han, and Leia. They're all going to be there. It's confirmed, and it's going to involve their offspring. All right, so the babies of Han and Leia are going to be there, and they are eyeing Michael Fassbender, Hugo Weaving, and Adam Driver for other roles. Who knows who they're going to play, but I think the fact that that are getting Michael Fassbender and Hugo Weaving in there is totally great news. Now, I don't know anything about Adam Driver, but apparently he's a really good actor. But Michael Fassbender and Hugo Weaving is great at playing villains. Imagine him as a Sith Lord. But the Sith are wiped out, so maybe he's going to play some other type of villain. I can totally see Michael Fassbender as a Jedi. I can totally see him playing like a Jedi or Jedi Council or something, like a wise guy kind of guy, like a wise man in a robe, like an Obi-Wan Kenobi type of character. Very, very cool stuff to know that Michael Fassbender and Hugo Weaving are going to be part of Episode 7. But so far, nothing's been confirmed. They're not signed on yet, but the production wants those two. All right, so there you have it. That's all I got to say in this video. We covered a lot of news, and I got to roll out because it's movie night. It's movie night at the U house. Alex U, the House of U. We're watching a movie. We're watching some new movies that I picked up recently, and I got to roll out. So, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, and also if you want to check out any of my photos on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at The Ragin Nation. My name is Alex U. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Down, and it's the Blu-ray, which comes with the Blu-ray, the DVD, and the digital UV copy. And between Olympus has